Romulus drank from his brother's cup and fell asleep. He dreamt a dream about a builder. It was backbreaking work for the builder. One day, at the end of a long day, his brother came and brought him berries, which he swallowed in one gulp, with a bladder full of water the size of a young calf. He drank and drank, but could not get the berries to stop drying out his mouth. Some say it was poison that did it, that his brother put poison in the drink. Others say he died from the crippling work under the hot sun. When they bent over him, he blinked at them. He swore he had dragged the sun across the sky. No one knew how much effort he put forth. But the days he spent building were days the rains came. People did not understand it at first. They had been so long deprived. The rains brought fish. With no water in the waterways, there had been no fish for centuries. So in this new time, people still thought that the fish swam down in the rain, and if they did not catch them before they landed, they would disperse in the air and be taken by birds. The people, raised on depravity, had a hard time giving it up for the splendor that was overtaking them. They took up parading around the emerging empire until they were so tired they collapsed near the cistern gate. All night long they sent their cups up to him. "Here's to the good king," they said. "But I'm only a builder," said the builder. His supporters stood in the crowd, but emerged forth to bring him water. "No," they said, "you are a creator." Though his lips were dry, his hands warped, he could not argue with what they said. He brought his sheep up off its feet until they were level, and kissed it on its head like a beloved pet. When Romulus awoke, it was as if he were charging through some invisible tape that had always stopped him before. As he ran, he didn't feel bad about seeing the girl in that moment, because she was not his destiny. She'd stay with Remus to sort out their baggage. He had hurt people with that same emptiness. Most often it was unintentional. He'd broken hearts and had his heart broken, and somehow through all that breaking, he had found himself. Now Romulus had his mission. Lane was running, having lost track of Remus, without realizing it. She ran smack into the cage with the sheet pulled over it. She looked inside and found Lupina caged underneath the bars. "This is bullshit," Lupina said, when Lane ducked her head inside the sheet. Lupina bared her teeth in her wolf form. "I did not make this bed," she said. "Now I'm forced to lie in it." Lane started to laugh at the bed sheet pun, but Lupina must have thought she was laughing at her, which made Lane feel bad. She understood what it felt like to be ridiculed. Lane stopped chuckling at the puns when Lupina glared at her, and Lane took on all the crimes ever committed against Mom. She was tied to her inseparably, a bondage to her misery. "I thought your dad would change after you were born, but things just got worse. You know, he's not as perfect as you always made him out to be." Mom broke down in that instant. when she became, as she sometimes did, a very small child. How could my mom let that happen to us when we were little children? I'm so furious at everything. How come you get to rise out of all this? What makes you so brave and powerful? Lane's attention was drawn elsewhere as the trumpets began to blow, and she was forced out of her own way. She got up and started to backtrack, and seeming to sense this, Lupina bared her teeth once more and bit Lane in her heel above her hoof. It was not much, just the loss of control. Romulus had always had a thankfulness bordering on guilt for Lupina saving him and Remus from their watery fate at birth. Maybe even guilt for being alive sometimes. But since she saved his life, did not mean she owned it. Remus's voice boomed on the dais, and Lane started to spring towards where his voice was. She was sure her hips were going to fall off as she ran. It felt like she was on the final sprint of a marathon. Her type roams the forest by night and pretends to be civilized by day, Remus called out. Watch the wolf become a woman before your eyes. I know because she is my mother, but really the enemy. I called you to order before the first light, the transformation. Under my control, no more of your livestock will be harmed. Lane looked behind her. The sheet was lifted, and the Capitoline wolf was on display now. The statue, with the twins suckling underneath. Mom had turned into a statue that was no longer Lupina or Mom. It depicted the human babes nursing from underneath the teats of the foreign animal, and how she sacrificed for those abandoned alien children, so different from her, as best as she could. She did her ultimate best. Truth is, we are all born of the Capitoline mother, the wolf mother, who is born under the conditions of the wolf, but who loves us as best as she can. And every father is a good shepherd who may in reality not be so good after all. At least that's how it was for Lane. Good luck in Italian was translated as the wolf's mouth, and the response was, Crepi il lupo, may the wolf die. And Lane thought, if only the wolf part could die, and the rest could live and prosper. Remus looked so mad when the statue was revealed in the wolf's place, and the crowd laughed. Wasn't the other one who was supposed to change? They asked. Everyone was looking at Lane like, how was it that she was the one to change? Some kind of miracle. How could a girl rise up from such a strange birth? Remus was holding on to the sacrificial bowl that would induct him as a councilman of Alba Longa and grant him even more power, but he let go of the rope in his distractedness. The crowd parted as Lane filled in the gap between the merging bodies, heading towards the dais. She felt exposed, like everyone would know the truth about her, that maybe she wasn't a shape-shifting sheep woman after all, but this was just some story she made up to help with real life. Thanks for watching my video, guys. I'll be back with another video next Wednesday. Until then, ciao!